The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
So I took the leading men of your tribes, wise and respected men, and appointed them to have authority over you, as commanders of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and of tens as tribal officials. And I charge your judges at the time, hear the disputes between your people, and judge fairly.
When you give testimony in a lawsuit, do not pervert justice by siding with the crowd. Do not show favoritism to a poor man in a lawsuit.
Then all of you came to me and said, let us send men ahead to spy out the land for us, and bring back a report about the route we are to take, and the towns we will come to. The idea seemed good to me, so I selected 12 of you, one man from each tribe. I have assembled you all to be spies in the land of Canaan. You would spend days there, and you would come back to me with a report, scoping out everything, the weaknesses, the strengths, and letting us know the possibility of this mission. So be brave, go with God, and do not mess this up. But you were unwilling to go up. You rebelled against the command of the Lord your God.
We explored, devours those living in it, and the people we saw of great size. You ain't hear me. We saw the descendants of Anak there. You know you were scared when we was over there.
Listen, we can do it. We have God on our side.
God on our side? But you ain't, I didn't say this, but you ain't see the size of Anak? Big man, look at this. These grapes we brought back. Whenever you see two people carry grapes in your life.
When the Lord heard what you said, he was angry and solemnly swore, no one from this evil generation shall see the good land I swore to give your ancestors, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh. He will see it, and I will give him and his descendants the land he set his feet on. Because of you, the Lord became angry with me also.
Moses, I'm thirsty, Moses. Can I get some? We need water.
Listen, you rebels. Must we bring you water from this rock?
And said, you shall not enter it either, but your assistant, Joshua, son of Nun, will enter it. Hear, Israel, the decrees and laws I declare in your hearing today. Learn them, and be sure to follow them.
Commandment number 10. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his manservant or his maidservant, his ox or his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. These are the 10 Commandments.
The Lord gave me 2 stone tablets, inscribed by the finger of God. On them were all the commandments the Lord proclaimed to you on the mountain out of the fire, on the day of the assembly. At the end of the 40 days and 40 nights, the Lord gave me the 2 stone tablets, the tablets of the covenant. Then the Lord told me, go down from here at once, because your people, whom you brought out of Egypt, have become corrupt. They have turned away quickly from what I commanded them and have made an idol for themselves.
This is what I come back to? A calf? Dancing? Singing? What is wrong with you people? Where's Aaron at? Aaron, what did these people do to you that you led them in such a great sin?
No, don't be angry at me, my lord. Listen, you know these people. They came to me and they so prone to evil. They came to me and they said, make us gods who will go before us.
This day I call the heavens and the earth together as witnesses against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live. Moses, the longtime leader of the children of Israel, sinned against God and thus lost the privilege to lead the nation into the promised land.
God had already appointed a new leader, and before Moses exited stage left, he had one final admonition for the nation. This admonition is given to us in the form of the book of Deuteronomy. This episode, we will explore the book of Deuteronomy in its entirety and see the last words, history, warnings, and blessings and curses that the great leader Moses had left for the Israelites. All right, welcome back to another episode of A Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Thank you all for tuning in again here another week or whenever you actually decide to listen. We really appreciate it. Housekeeping items. Hit that like and subscribe button. I know some people might just be listening every weekend, just realize they're not subscribed, those of you who are on YouTube. And even if you're not listening on YouTube, if you're listening on a streaming platform, if you could do us a small free favor and just go over to YouTube and hit the like and subscribe button and check out some of our other content that we have, like fresh air facts that you can't find on the streaming platforms. Greatly appreciate it.
Another thing too,
go for it, mate.
Yeah, think about this though. For the most part, church is not available. You understand what I'm saying? For your friends and family who ain't really the church type or ain't really the preaching type, you understand? Just share with them this informal dialogue.
Oh, yeah. That's the next thing, too. The next thing we have in the comments. Please share with a friend or family member. I mean, if you just share it. If you liked it, if you forgot any value from it or any of the other episodes, just share your favorite episode. You don't got to share this one.
And that's what I'm saying, too. Like, I ain't trying to tell you all, do stuff unreasonable that I wouldn't do. If you all listening and you all enjoy this and stuff like that, yeah, don't hesitate to share. You understand what I'm saying? I appreciate that. But at the same time, I think about, I wish I could experience this from somebody else. Of course, because we talking, we don't get the joys of listening to it. But if it's a platform similar to this, I would like for somebody to just share it out with me so I could, at my leisure, tune in and tap in and just hear what young guys who just chilling have to say as it relates to God, And
on the same token, if you disagree with what we're singing, thumbs down. I want the content interaction.
Right.
Thumbs down and leave a comment to letting me know what you disagree with or letting us know what you disagree with. We appreciate that too.
Brief tangent. There's been a few people that have disagreed with. I'm talking about very few people, right? And a lot of times it ain't nothing to agree or disagree with because a lot of times you just be reading, but it's blatant takes you could disagree with. Whenever I respond and give them an outlet to speak, that completely diffuses the situation. Some people are very upset. Oh, you said da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, hey, man, elaborate on it. From I say that, it's like peachy keen from there, bro. It's like we buddies after that. Yeah, so you should have da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, I appreciate the feedback. Because at the end of the day, I ain't here to fight you over God. You understand what they're saying?
Exactly. Unless it has to do with your immediate salvation. Then we could wrestle and grapple with this. And at the same time,
but I still ain't trying to fight you, I only trying to show you.
It's your choice. If God ain't forcing this, why should I?
That's what I'm saying. Who Jesus had to fight over bad theology. You understand? like, truthfully. So yeah, we really appreciate all of that for sure. But we would be remiss if we didn't say it out loud, in case you didn't know how you could better help us.
And then some people say closed mouths don't get fed.
Exactly.
And one of my next friends to say, if you don't beg, you ain't gonna never get. So
okay.
All right, so on that tangent, I guess with my little inspirational thought, coming from 1 Thessalonians 5:16, shout out to episode 12, thanks, it's on the menu. But rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances. For this is God's will for you in Jesus Christ, or in Christ Jesus. And to me, we elaborate this more in that episode, so definitely go check it out, episode 12. But you realize it says, give thanks in all circumstances, rejoice always, pray continually, pray without ceasing. And I like the part where it says always and in all circumstances, because no matter what you're going through, it isn't the good times alone. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like when you're going through your bad times, when you're going through your rough days, when you're going through the days that you think everything is going wrong, it's still saying, praise him. And this reminds me of the song, I guess, shout out to Marvin Sapp, but praise him in advance. It starts off with, I've had my share of ups and downs, time where there was no one around. But God came and spoke these words to me, praise will confuse the enemy. And it's like, when you start praising, you realize things get a little bit better. when you're actually thankful for what God actually has given you and actually has brought you through, you realize your day gets a little bit brighter. Things aren't as bad as it seems, and you have a little bit more hope for another day. So, in the infinite wisdom of God, inspiring Paul, like these words were penned in the Bible, like pray continuously in all circumstances, give God thanks in all circumstances. Because even like we said in that episode, there is always a reason to give God thanks.
And on that, we talking about the Israelites too. And even in their horrible circumstances where they was thirsty and hungry and whatever, you understand what I'm saying? The Lord doesn't deny that these weren't ideal circumstances. You understand what I'm saying? But truthfully, it is later said in this book that we're about to go into that this was to humble them and test them. So imagine you complaining through something that God is really trying to use to constructively help you and elevate you. Imagine you complaining through that, And so that's just something to think about. So even if your circumstances aren't good, like there's nothing good out of this, consider the fact that sometimes God puts you through that, not even to be cliche, but sometimes God puts you through that to really mold you or to test your faith to see how you are going to react to that. So that's even more incentive to say, be thankful in all the circumstances that you're in.
Amen.
Yep.
Amen. And so, nice segue. Sure you guys know what we're really here to talk about.
Right.
And that is the amazing, illustrious book of Deuteronomy. Or as the Greeks call it, Deuteronomion.
Sure.
I mean, that's like the book's original name. And the book is, and that title in Greek means the second law. We're going to get into that and break it down. But Deuteronomy is an interesting book. And so we're going to treat this episode like Leviticus, because a lot of the things in Leviticus and Numbers, and even some of Exodus, good part of Exodus too, is actually echoed again in this book. And so you kind of see why the book actually names called the second law, because it's a lot of revisiting of the covenant law that was already established.
Yep.
So, I flip through my Bible. Just hit it out the park. Where you want to start from? Well, Deuteronomy 1.
That's what I was about to say. Deuteronomy 1. So
where are the places to start?
Exactly. And one things to think about, right? So we just...
That's right. Yep, go for it.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? We just finished Numbers, right? Which is a continuation of Exodus. They left Egypt.
It's a continuation of Genesis.
It was a continuation of Genesis.
Big.
So at this time, they had already left Egypt. They had already been wandering for 40 years. They on their way back now. And God has been vocal about who's not going to make it to the promised land. Moses being one of them.
And we see in last episode, Aaron already passed away.
Yep.
Or 2 episodes ago. It's all
we see at the end of the Numbers that Aaron has passed away.
Aaron's passed away.
And and this is the thing, Moses struck the rock twice. Aaron was an accomplice or complicit in this. And Aaron has died, we know, but Aaron wasn't even the main person who done this thing. It was Moses. So the end is near. We see in the end of Numbers, he appointed Joshua. But here it is. You have all this knowledge from participating and then from God being the direct person who spoke to you. So you would be remiss if you don't come and break it down once more in your last final go round.
My parting gift.
Yeah, my parting gift to you.
Words. And I'll go for it.
And one more thing to consider. This is your second time going over this, but it might be your first time going over to these people. Because the first time you would have went over to their parents who displeased God to the point where he said, you guys are not going to make it to the promised land. 40 years you're going to wander, and then that generation is going to die. Anybody who mumble against me is going to die. So now this 40 years is ending, and we know after this 40 years, Moses ain't going to be alive either. So this would have had to have been probably before the 40 years, but closer to. And so now he's really just talking to this second generation now.
And it's important how you say that too, because when you actually look at the construct of the book of Deuteronomy, right? Deuteronomy is broken up into 3 main sections. You have 2 speeches by Moses, give or take, and in the middle of it is like the main revisitation of the law. So he has an open dialogue, which is essentially, as we're going to get into, but it's like a remembrance, like, here are the things that God has done for the children of Israelites. But here, at the same time, he's saying, here's the thing God has done for your parents. Because like Kazi just pointed out, up until this point, they've already wandered in the desert for 40 years. So all of their parents, grandparents, whoever came out of Egypt, and was over the age of 20 at that point in time, they've died. So this is the new generation. Now the oldest person might be the oldest person here now is 60
yeah.
give or take. You know what I'm saying? Besides Moses, the oldest person and Joshua, oldest person probably is like around 60. So now we have this new generation who wasn't there for the 10 Commandment. Well, too small to remember the 10 Commandment experience on the mountain. They just all they know is walking around the desert. Think about it. You born in year 20. All you know is desert life. You 5, essentially, all you remember is desert life. You don't really remember Egypt.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So now this is a generation, all they know is life in the desert, life following a pillar of cloud, life following on a pillar of fire by night. So now Moses is saying, okay, y'all, we on the verge of going back into conquering this land. Here is everything y'all need before y'all conquer this land again, before y'all go into this land. Because now the covenant was made with your ancestors. Y'all need to get used to this covenant now because this God is y'all God. Here's the covenant. Here's what we are called to be. And we're going to see, like God, let's come, God trying to reestablish this covenant again because this covenant is so important to God and to the Israelites at this time. God wants them to be a separated group of people from all the Canaanite nations that they're about to really be amongst them. Because we talked about the end of Numbers where we saw, what was the tribe of Dan and...
Oh yeah, those 2 tribes, they didn't even want to cross.
Exactly.
Yeah.
2 tribes say, you know what, we're not even going to enter Canaan proper. We're going to set up on this side of the Jordan. I remember Moses was saying that, yo, why y'all doing this?
Yeah,
like we worked so hard to get over here, and now y'all just...
Yeah, y'all just trying to take...
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all jumping the gun right now.
Yeah,
y'all.
like...
Because we worked so hard to get here, but we still have more to go. The mission ain't complete yet, but y'all just trying to jump ship in a way too. But because we still have to fight a bunch of people, and it's like we could be short-handed. And they turned around and was like, I mean, we'll go with y'all to fight, you know. Don't get me wrong now. Let's just build these things up. We can go with y'all to fight.
We just leave our women and children here and our herds.
Exactly. And
they sweeten the deal. We don't even want land over there.
Exactly.
Y'all can have everything over there. We be good over here. So that's just the context of Deuteronomy at this point. So now is a reminder this generation who actually about to conquer this land that was promised to Abraham. You know what I'm saying? We know Abraham got it and Jacob left to come to Egypt. But now this promise is being, hey, go back and conquer the land that I already gave to your forefathers. And I promised them I already made this covenant. We're going to even get into how Moses was even telling them why God chose y'all. Y'all wasn't the best nation. Y'all wasn't the most numerous nation. No, it's because of the love of God that he gave this covenant to y'all. He's keeping the covenant because he loves you guys. But I'm jumping the gun as the other tribes did. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So I just want to start from verse 3. It says, in the 40th year. So my correction, it was the 40th year. On the first day of the 11th month, Moses proclaimed to the Israelites all that the Lord had commanded him concerning them. This was after he had defeated Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, and at Edrei had defeated Og, king of Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth, east of the Jordan in the territory of Moab. Moses began to expound this law, saying, the Lord your God said to us at Horeb, you have stayed long enough at this mountain. Break camp and advance into the hill country of the Amorites. Go to all the neighboring people in Arabah, in the mountains, in the western foothills, in the Negev, and along the coast to the land of the Canaanites and to Lebanon, as far as the great river, the Euphrates. See, I have given you this land. Go in and take possession of the land the Lord swore he would give to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to their descendants. So here, Moses giving them basically the setup for how we have to revisit this thing. So he really painted the picture of what happened the first time. You know, at that time I said to you, you are too heavy a burden for me to carry alone. The Lord your God has increased your numbers so that today you are as numerous as the star of the sky. May the Lord, the God of your ancestors, increase you 1,000 times and bless you as he has promised. But how can I bear your problems and your burdens and your disputes all by myself? Choose some wise, understanding, and respected men from each of your tribes, and I will set them over you. You answered me, what you propose to do is good. So I took the leader men of your tribes, wise and respected men, and appointed them to have authority over you as commanders of thousands, hundreds, and fifties, and of tens, and of tribal and as tribal officials. I charge your judges at that time, hear the disputes between your people and judge fairly. Whether the case is between two Israelites or between an Israelite and the foreigner residing among you, do not show partiality in judging. Hear both small and great alike. Do not be afraid of anyone, for judgment belongs to God. Bring me any case too hard for you, and I will hear it. And at that time, I told you everything you were to do. So even right here, he basically
Revisiting.
and it's
Yep.
right, and it's like a combination of what we see in Exodus and Leviticus. So in Exodus, remember Jethro told him, bro, you going through every single case, bro. You gotta delegate and appoint based on how the Lord tells you. So from there, they had elders. They assigned people like leaders of tens, 50s, and thousands, and that's a callback. When they said that just now, that was actually a callback to when they first implemented in Exodus. Leviticus, they went and told about Leviticus, they kind of broke down specific disputes. If this person happens, this, you understand what I'm saying? So we can see a combination of the two there.
And then too is like, when you think about it too, like you said, he's telling this to the new generation because they don't know, well, they probably heard, but like, they don't really know how they got here. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this is what happened when I was a kid, or I wasn't even born yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it wasn't their responsibility.
You know what I'm saying?
before.
So now, like Moses saying, yeah, these are the things, like this is how we got set up to this point. This is what happened. We came whatever here. And you're gonna see somebody saying like, but like I like you're just saying, but you guys were unwilling to do this. But you know, like your ancestors were unwilling to do this. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, so little history lesson. Then, as the Lord your God commanded us, we set out from Horeb and went toward the hill country of the Amorites, through all that vast and dreadful wilderness that you have seen. And so we reached Kadesh Barnea. Then I said to you, you have reached the hill country of the Amorites, which the Lord our God is giving us. See, the Lord your God has given you the land. Go up and take possession of it, as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, told you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Then all of you came to me and said, let us send men ahead. So Moses giving excruciating detail because he's saying, bro, y'all come to me and say, let us send men ahead to spy out the land for us and bring back a report about the route we are to take and the towns we will come to. Moses responds to say, the idea seemed good to me. So I selected 12 of you, one man from each tribe. They left and went up into the hill country and came to the valley of Eshcol and explored it. Taking with them some of the fruit of the land, they brought it down to us and reported, it is a good land that the Lord our God is giving us. But you were unwilling to go up. You rebelled against the command of the Lord your God. So if this was the first time you hearing this would have escalated so quickly to you, like, wait, how that happened so quick? You know what I mean? All right, so like in certain movies, the opening scene might be something so crazy, like you getting chased by a bunch of wild animals or something, and then in freeze frame, you probably wondering how we got here, right? This is what Moses doing. You know your story start with you in the middle of the wilderness, right? You toiling for years and years. You probably wondering how we got here, right? Y'all know we left Egypt. That's a fact. But how we get here to this point where we have to be circling around in this wilderness
And it's
so
so
long?
interesting to me too, because I'm like, you would think that, because like I know we're doing like a just general recap of everything, because I'm like, you would think I'd be like, yo, mommy, daddy, why we ain't making it to the promised land yet? I feel like we've been camping by this mountain base for like a year or two.
Yeah, like what we doing for real?
Yeah, like, we've been here a while.
But you were unwilling to go up and you rebel against the Lord, against the command of the Lord your God. You grumbled in your tents and said, the Lord hates us. So he brought us out of Egypt to deliver us into the hands of the Amorites to destroy us. Where can we go? Our brothers have made our hearts melt in fear. They say the people are stronger and taller than we are. The cities are large with walls up to the sky. We even saw the Anakites there.
The Anakites.
Yep. Then I said to you, do not be terrified. Do not be afraid of them. The Lord your God, who is going before you, will fight for you, as he did for you in Egypt, before your very eyes and in the wilderness. There you saw how the Lord your God carried you, as a father carries his son, all the way you went until you reached this place. In spite of this, you did not trust in the Lord your God, who went ahead of you on your journey in fire by night and in a cloud by day, to search out places for you to camp and to show you the way you should go. When the Lord heard what you said, he was angry and solemnly swore, no one from this evil generation shall see the good land I swore to you, your ancestors, swore to give your ancestors, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh. He will see it, and I will give him and his descendants, and his descendants the land he set his feet on, because he followed the Lord wholeheartedly. Because of you, the Lord became angry with me. Oh, so this the part made me laugh. So Moses was like, and don't forget why I even eat, because Moses' incident ain't even had nothing to do with this right here. You understand what I'm saying? But Moses made it clear to them, because of you, the Lord became angry with me also. You shall not enter it either, but your assistant Joshua, son of Nun, will enter it. Encourage him, because he will lead Israel to inherit it. And the little ones that you said would be captive, your children who do not yet know good from bad, they will enter the land. I will give it to them, and they will take possession of it. But as for you, turn around and set out toward the desert along the route to the Red Sea. And you replied, we have sinned against the Lord. We will go up and fight as the Lord our God commanded us. So every one of you put on his weapons, thinking it easy to go up into the hill country. But the Lord said to me, tell them, do not go up and fight, because I will not be with you. You will be defeated by your enemies. So I told you, but you would not listen. You rebelled against the Lord's command, and in your arrogance you marched up into the hill country. The Amorites who lived in those hills came out against you. They chased you like a swarm of bees and beat you down from Seir all the way to Hormah. You came back and wept before the Lord, but he paid no attention to your weeping and turned a deaf ear to you. And so you stayed in Kadesh many days, all the time you spent there. So Moses in his opening monologue, he giving them the full backstory.
Yep.
How we got here?
This is how.
This is exactly step by step how we got here.
In
excruciating detail. How we got there. So then in chapter 2, he goes on to explain what happened while they were wandering in the wilderness. So verse 1, then we turned back and set out towards the wilderness along the route to the Red Sea. As the Lord had directed me, for a long time we made our way around the hill country of Seir. Then the Lord said to me, you have made your way around this hill country long enough. Now turn north. Give the people these orders. You are about to pass the territory of your relatives, the descendants of Esau who lived in Seir. They will be afraid of you, but be very careful. Do not provoke them to war, for I will not give you any of their land, not even to put your foot on. I have given Esau the hill country of Seir as his own. You are to pay them in silver for the food you eat and the water you drink. The Lord your God has blessed you in all the work of your hands. He has watched over your journey through this vast wilderness. These 40 years, the Lord your God has been with you, and you have not lacked anything. And that's an interesting point, because they go on to talk in this book. I don't remember which chapter or verse. They go on to talk about how venomous the snakes was in this area. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all complain about water about 3 times based on what's described.
Recorded, documented.
Was documented. But you in a desert, you need to drink water every day. You understand what I'm saying?
You need to eat every day.
You need to eat every day. We ain't seen nothing where they say, oh, God had to make them new clothes. From you 5 to you 30, where you getting clothes from, bro? Like,
clothes didn't wear, your sandals didn't wear.
You
Deserts are excruciatingly hot by night.
It come a time and you would need new clothes because you get taller.
Right, that's the next thing, like in God's infinite wisdom, right? What was he by day? A pillar of cloud. Deserts are excruciatingly hot.
Yep.
At
That's
night,
crazy.
people don't realize, as hot as deserts are at night, I mean, in the day, at night, they are
cold.
super cold. What was he at night?
A pillar of fire.
So y'all never experienced the harshness that this desert has to offer. The scorpions were held at bay. The poisonous snakes were held at bay. The other wild, ravaged beasts were held at bay. 40 years y'all in this desert. Even though it's punishment, God was still protecting y'all in this desert. And I know I jump in the gun, but we go and see, and even as we go through the Bible, y'all ain't holding up y'all under the covenant, but God's still holding up us under the covenant no matter what. Oh my, like, it's so much other things I'm gonna say, but I gotta let you keep on going.
I lost where I was, bro. I don't even gonna lie to you, bro.
All right, so we transition into a different part of like his speech. So like I'll pick up in like chapter 4. I don't know. So now we start seeing when you start going back through like, okay, idolatry is forbidden. We seeing again how God, he goes through if you saw no form of any kind the day the Lord spoke to you at Horeb out of the fire. Therefore, watch yourselves very carefully so that you do not become corrupt and make yourselves an idol.
And this Deuteronomy 4 verse 15 you just read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of any shape, whether formed like a man or a woman, or like any animal on the earth, or any bird that flies in the air, or any creature that moves along the ground, or any fish in the waters below. And do not look up to the sky and see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all a heavenly array. Do not be enticed into bowing down to them or worshiping the things your God has opposition to all the nations under heaven. And you know what is so important? Because a lot of the nations around those days, the sun, the moon, the stars, they were gods. If we could look back through history, the Romans, unfortunately, all the planets named after Roman gods. Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, those are Roman gods. We look up and we call these planets, we literally call them Roman gods' names. Like they worship these celestial bodies. And we see what Moses is saying specifically, y'all, like, and again, the context matters. Y'all about to be amongst these nations. Do not adopt their concepts.
Bro, I don't understand how. Now, granted, bro, when you get all the way through the Old Testament, you get to the New Testament. The New Testament is liberating and kind of liberal as it compares to the Old Testament. I don't understand how you could have read the Torah, bro, these first 4 books of the Bible, and still see it okay as a Christian to support the way other religions go about doing religion. You understand what I'm saying? We ain't there to single nothing out, but it's a few mainstream religions that they have statues and stuff like that, bro. You understand? It's a pivotal part of their religion.
Once you travel, like, I mean, I went to India. I went to a Hindu temple just to see what it was about. Well, it was a part of the tour. So I had no choice but to go. So I was like, bro, you see the statues. I saw all the statues. You know what I'm saying?
And so, truthfully, I ain't here to talk with no people at all, but like just the practices of it. This is today's version of what people was doing in Canaan. The way they worship, it involved images. You understand what I'm saying? And graven images at that. And bro, the past 3 books, bro, the Lord has made it painfully obvious, bro. I ain't even trying to be funny. It's been painfully obvious and repetitive how much he detests idol worship and idols in general. You understand? And in this book, bro, they talk about idols so much in the first half of Deuteronomy, and every time they talk about idols, it's never in a good light. But then they get to the point where they're like, bro, destroy idols. When you conquer a city, you see the idols, destroy all of them. You understand what I'm saying? But you see an idol and it have a lot of gold on it. Don't say you don't covet the gold or the precious metal on this thing. Destroy it. You understand what I'm saying? Because truthfully, idols are detestable to God. And this is a fundamental truth. And I say fundamental because these things can take shit. In the society that we live now, it ain't gonna be as set in stone or as identical as it was some thousands of years ago when Moses was around. You understand what I'm saying? There's new ways these things are presented. But from the Old Testament, you could get for sure that God does not like idols. And there are punishments for worshiping idols, especially if you know better.
And just think about it from God's perspective, man. Like, why are you giving another thing my praise? And that's the next thing to it. God don't hide it. I am a jealous God.
Right. And that's why you can't say we could put this calf and this calf is a representation of God. No.
Why you gonna make your own God?
You could just cut out the middleman, bro. I rate you. You understand? I tell you, boy, we have all these altars. I tell you how to worship me. But you decide you want an image that represent God. You understand? I ain't even gonna lie.
And you know what's so funny too? And I just like how you use the word image, right? Could it be the very reason that God said, don't even make an image of me because I already made you in my image? So what more do you need?
Now that's crazy. I didn't think about the fact that we was made in God's image.
I mean, because the Bible specifically said it out. God made us in his image.
That's a fact.
I guess I'm just thinking like this is the last book of the Torah, so like we're gonna kind of tie this all in back at the end of the episode for people listening. But this is the Torah: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. This is the last book in the Torah series that as Hebrews call it. So the first five books of the Bible is the Torah. Book 1, God said he created man in his own image. Book 2, he said, do not create anything in the any other thing the likeness of me. I already created you guys, and you guys are my representation on earth. That's the next powerful thing too when you look at the symbology of it. Like we are supposed to be his representation of on earth, and especially these Israelites people. You guys are supposed to be the ones spreading my love, my kindness, my joy, my justice to all the other nations of the earth. Why do you need to have another image to represent this?
That's a fact. And at the same time, reading Deuteronomy, but God also mentioned that, bro, literally, I purposely didn't show you how I look. When Moses see my glory, he had to see when I pass, and I had to tell him when. But all you see is fire, thunder, and you hear trumpets and thing. You ain't see how I look, bro. So literally, you can't make an idol to represent me in no type of way, because you don't even know who I am. You don't know who I am, but you don't know how I look at all.
Anything you do will just be doing it a tremendous disservice. Like you see those wax sculptures that people make of like Cristiano Ronaldo and these people.
Bro, when you go to the wax museum and you're just like,
how y'all messed this up?
I'm telling you, like, and that's the truth though. But at the same time, like me, and we just was laughing about this today. People, and it's getting out of hand now, ladies and gents. People are always tagging me in photos of men who are of a similar complexion to me and that have dreadlocks. And they saying, yo, I thought this was you. It's getting out of hand because I'm like, to me, this don't look like me at all. But to these people, it always looks like me. Even my sister even shared with me a picture of someone and she's like, bro, this you. And I'm like, no, it's not. You understand what I'm saying? But to me, it's like, bro, y'all doing me a disservice. You think that's me? Come on. You understand? But now I'm not worthy to say that because we all made in God's image. Like, truthfully, I'm not better than anybody. We are beautiful. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. But we talking about God, the person who literally deserves all of the glory and the honor. You making a man-made representation of him. No, you know what he want as a representation? He want a lamb. He giving you the specific offerings to make, that is to be a representation.
A sweet aroma pleasing to the Lord.
Pleasing to the Lord. You understand what I'm saying? And not even to go on a tangent, but I ain't gonna lie. Deuteronomy 4, the Lord was getting busy. Like, he was getting in his bag talking about idolatry.
Oh, keep going. I was going to continue it, so keep going.
Yeah. So he was getting in his bag talking about idolatry. So there's never a time when you should question where he stands on that, how he feels about that. And like, I ain't trying to be like the super conservative guy, but we got to even consider in the Christian church at large, like regardless of denomination, the ways how we represent Jesus and the images that we show of Jesus and stuff like that. You understand? Because even that's problematic. We have black people who do not like Christianity because it's like, bro, why are you worshiping this white God? And that's the thing. If we didn't have an image of Jesus, that would not hold up in court because slave owners did use Christianity to use the Bible to justify Christianity, but it was wildly out of context. You understand what I'm saying? And as a matter of fact, the Israelites was enslaved. You understand? But they was enslaved by Africans. Like, you understand? It wasn't like a white people versus black people type of thing. But now in this time of the world, in this side of the world and in this day and age, people are like, bro, this the white man religion. You know why? They talk about slavery in the Bible and there's this white God, right? But bro, that ain't even how Jesus would have looked, bro. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
and here's the next thing too. It's like, I know we're on a tangent, so we're going to probably wrap this tangent up in a bit, but your perception of God, right? I'll put it this way. You know when you hear someone on the radio or something like that, and you actually see them in person, you're like, how? Like, how
don't look like
how
that
voice fit that?
Right.
People do the same thing with God. Like, you have this, you have this version of God that you see in your mind, but now if the next verse comes presented to you, like, how does this fit into what I already thought?
I just was telling you, somebody who studies theology told me that it is believed that Jesus was around 5'3" in height. That made me very uncomfortable. I'm like, I imagine my Lord and Savior to be at least my height. You understand what I'm saying? Now, granted, if I was 7 foot, I would have a different perception because the majority of people just shorter than me. But I'm just like, bro, that's kind of weird to me, right? But ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, this is just my natural, this is just my human bias, not even natural, this is my human bias. But the thing about it is, all of this could have been avoided if we wasn't trying to make images, like to say this is the image of God, so this is what you worship and thing like that. You understand what I'm saying? It don't have to be like that. Like, and God was trying to get ahead of this, and God was trying to avoid all of this because God understands the human nature and our minds and our hearts and how are we going to use things for evil, you know? So he basically was saying, don't do this. In the 10 Commandments, he was basically saying you degrading me by by making me in any type of way. You can't make me, I make you. And don't forget that, like, you know?
Yeah, so just to continue on, so the rest of verse 4 goes on to talk about, well, one, idols are bad. Then you start seeing the Lord is God. So he's just talked about the wonders and the stuff that God has done. And I'm picking up in Exodus, Deuteronomy 4, verse 35. You were shown these things that you might know that the Lord is God. Besides him, there is no other. For from heaven he made you hear his voice to discipline you. On earth he showed you his great fire, and you heard his words from out of the fire, because he loved your forefathers and chose their descendants after them. He brought you out of Egypt by his presence and by his great strength to drive out before you nations greater and stronger than you, and bring into their land and give it to you for your inheritance as it is today. And this is the next thing we're going to see as we go through Deuteronomy. Moses is emphasizing, God, this because he actually loved you. There's nothing else that you guys did to deserve this. He loved you. And he chose you guys. And so in the rest of Deuteronomy 4, it talks about cities of refuge, as we talked about in the past 2 previous books. And then we get the introduction of the law. Chapter 5 is the second place where the 10 Commandments is stated in the Bible in full. So it goes back through the full 10 Commandments. And anything else I'm missing from chapter 5? I just went to chapter 6. It's
just basically the 10 Commandments and the fact that he had to get a second tablet. Yeah, so he had to walk them through the first time, and and they was just being crazy with the calf.
And then so now in Deuteronomy chapter 6, I'm just gonna jump to verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. These are the commandments I give you today that are to be upon your hearts. Impress them as you talk to your children. Talk with them when you sit at home, and when you walk along the road, and when you lie down, when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frame of your houses and on your gates. And so the first part, I know we're going to delve into this part too. I know Kasi got especially some points to talk about the ending part of this thing, but so this part right here in the Bible is called the Shema, and to this day Hebrews say this every day. Like, this is like an actual ritual in Hebrew culture. Like, they say this every day. Like, when they say they literally like impress this on your children, like, this is literally something that they do. Like, so this is Shema is super powerful, and there's a couple of things here in this too. Like, so some of these words, when you actually look at them in the Hebrew context, like this, hear, O Israel, or listen, O Israel. That's really where the Shema actually comes from, because this Shem here is talking more about, it's not just about listening and just hearing something, it's about actually a call to action. So when he says listen, he's actually saying like, listen and act. Listen and obey, O Israel. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. So you actually see, that's why I actually went into listen, and he actually went into like, here's something you actually need to do. Because this is just not about hearing. This is about applying what you're hearing. So that's an important thing to pick up when he's saying this. So obey, O Israel, is essentially what he's saying. Love the Lord our God. You see, even saying ownership now. This is my God too. Love the Lord our God with all, like, the Lord is one. The Lord our God is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. And the love here too isn't just, this just isn't emotional love that they're talking about too in the Bible. This love is also an action type of love too. It's saying love and make a decision. So be devoted to our God is what this is saying. So it's saying, obey Israel. The Lord our God is one. And again, why he emphasizing our Lord our God is one? You guys are about to enter a land where there is multitude of gods. There's a God of war, there's a God of sex, there's a God of green, there's a God of light, there's a God of harvest, there's a God of money, there's a God of everything in these lands. So God, he's saying, no, Israel, we have one God. Our God is one. Love him, obey him, be devoted to our God, keep his commandments, love him with all your heart, your soul, and your strength. And again, your heart and soul, like they talking about, when you have that empty feeling, you be feeling guilty in your mind, but you feel it in your chest.
Why?
Well, I ain't a doctor. I can't explain how these nerves just work. Yeah. But it's a weird thing. So now,
because your heart, bro, your heart ain't responsible for this, bro. Your heart might beat faster in certain situations, but the emotions you feel when I am really in love or really happy, that feeling I get in my chest, it's not my heart, bro. It's my nerves, it's my mind sending message to my chest to feel this way. You understand what I'm saying?
And you know what's so important? So I think about this. This thousands of years ago, before modern science. So we passed the antediluvian people now. So this what ancient civilization we talking about. You trying to communicate with them. They don't know about all this right now. So what better way to get it across? We all know where we just feel it by our heart.
And that's why, because your heart is really like a metaphoric thing, and
because it's in today's day we know your mind, but you know what's so important too? And this could throw the alley up to you. Where they saying put these symbols on your forehead and in your hands.
And this ain't even the first time they saying that, bro. Bro, remember, because I was blown away because I had missed this in my readings, but when we was on the pod, I was like, oh shoot. Right after they had implemented the Passover, they was like, keep this in your hands and in your foreheads. And at the time, we say, oh, we can get to that later. And we was really talking about in
Revelation and Daniel.
Yeah. But now I feel like you can't even ignore it now because this is the second time in a different scenario where they saying in your hands and in your foreheads. Metaphorically, you loving the Lord with all your heart, right? But your heart is pumped blood, bro. This love thing or this heart thing is really saying with just your whole body with all your emotions. Because it's your mind really, bro. If I find out somebody pass away, I just feel it in my heart, but it's really be how I think.
Thinking in my mind.
Well, how I think it in my mind that affects my body. And so when you think about hands and foreheads, it's the same thing, bro. The Passover festival, you can't keep the Passover in your hand or in your forehead. You understand what I'm saying? But truthfully, it's just the way how you're going to have to actually apply what you're going to have to think about it and remember this thing. And then you're going to have to apply it, right? So in Revelations, they talk about the mark of the beast in your hand and your forehead, right? Let's just cut out the mark of the beast because we ain't know that yet. We still in the Old Testament. How did they respond to the Passover? They kept the Passover every year. They did everything they needed to do for the Passover. Even when Jesus was getting crucified, we eat lamb in the Bahamas, we eat lamb every Easter because that's the time of the Passover and Jesus is the Lamb of God. It just hit me today. Oh, that's why it's such a tradition in the Bahamas. It's just the way how we've been influenced by that. It was the time of the Passover at that time. Even then, you see what I'm saying? And we ain't have no evidence and no microchip going in their hand that say Passover and things like that. But it's just the fact that how they remember and how they execute. So now they talking about the law, bro, but something just hit me like a ton of bricks just now, bro. Back to verse 4, Deuteronomy 6, verse 4. No, verse 5. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. And with all your strength, bro. What is this in response to? This is in response to keeping the law, right? But didn't we hear someone else say that? Didn't we hear someone else in the Bible say, it's only 2 commandments, love the Lord with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself?
And remember too, we find that was in
Leviticus, right? But now, Leviticus don't have the 10 commandments. You understand what I'm saying? So Leviticus was just It was just an extension of all the laws that they was given, right? This one is literally talking about the 10 Commandments because it coming right after the chapter where they going deep through all of the law, right?
The 10 Commandments.
And so, and so after that, they saying keep this in your heart, right? Keep this in your mind. Love the Lord with all your heart. You understand? With all your strength. Because these two are directly related. So in the New Testament, right? People try to just take that one off line and say, bro, it's only 2 commandments, bro. Love the Lord with all your heart. Love your neighbor as yourself, but that's all you have to do. But you can't love the Lord with all your heart without keeping the 10 commandments. That's it, bro. Point blank, period, bro. Ain't no thinking deeper than that, bro. Without keeping the 10 commandments, you are not loving the Lord with all your heart. You are not hiding these things in your hands and in your forehead. You understand what I'm saying? And that really just hit me, bro, because truthfully, Jesus talked about the 10 commandments, right? But he didn't go through every commandment. But you know who went through every commandment? Moses, just now in Deuteronomy. This was one of his last things that he gave to the Israelites before he died. He gave them everything in excruciating detail, bro. And then he coupled it with saying, all right, hide these things in your heart. Love the Lord with all your heart, with all your strength, etc. You know, so bro, these two are directly related, and it's so crazy to me, bro, because here we see Jesus remix it, like not even remix it, he just bring it back, and like reading some of these, and that's why these first few books are so important, because these were the textbooks that everyone else in the Bible looked to. You understand what I'm saying? Like we know that the Israelites, we don't know that they read the book of Genesis. They was here during Exodus and Leviticus and Numbers, Deuteronomy. But from here on out, everybody else in the Bible is going to be looking at this, and they're going to be quoting this time frame, you know. And one of the biggest quotes that you could get from this book and from Leviticus is love the Lord, you know, with all your heart, you know, because that means, and you know, the Bible says, if you love me, keep my commandments. Everybody go back to this so much times, you know, but I don't want it to be confused, because when we left Leviticus, I'm just like, how do we effectively tie together that in Galatians when they talk about how you don't have to keep some of these laws? How can we say that this doesn't apply to the 10 commandments when all of these was around at the same time? Because when you look at what Jesus was talking about, Jesus addressed the 10 commandments, and he definitely addressed a time when Moses had just finished talking about the 10 commandments as well. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty deep to me.
That's a good insight, bro. Honestly, it's real good insight. I even forget what was also. We were in chapter 6. I mean, so the last thing again, we see God talking about, like Moses talking about again, like do not serve other gods. And then in verse 20 was interesting. In the future, when your son asks you, what is the meaning of the stipulation, decrees, and the laws that God has commanded you? Tell him, we were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with his mighty hand. Before our eyes, the Lord sent miraculous signs and wonders, great and terrible, upon Egypt and Pharaoh and his whole household. But he brought us out from there to bring us in and give us land that he promised on an oath to our forefathers. The Lord commanded us to obey all these decrees and to fear the Lord our God, so that we may be prosper and kept alive, as in the case today. And we are careful to obey his law before the Lord our God, as he commanded us. This will be our righteousness. Chapter 7, talking about them driving out nations. I actually highlighted this part too in 7 verse 6. This is what I was talking about earlier. For God, so it's like, this is what you do, break down their altars and smash their sacred stones. This is what Kaz was talking about when he said, when you go in there, like burn all their idols and stuff. And that was in verse 5. But then in verse 6, he said, for you people are holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you out of all the peoples on the face of the earth to be his people, his treasured possession. The Lord did not set his affection on you or choose you because you were more numerous than the other peoples. For you were the fewest of all peoples of the earth. So that's humbling y'all right there. Like, wasn't that, like, y'all have all this great numbers now, but y'all didn't have this back in the day.
Exactly. And they wouldn't have known that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it was because the Lord loved you and kept an oath he swore to your forefathers, that he brought you out with his mighty hand and redeemed you from the land of slavery, from the power of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Know therefore that the Lord is your God, and he is a faithful God, keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love him and keep his commandment. But those who hate him, and he will repay to their face by destruction. He will not be slow to repay their face to those who hate him. And you know what's so interesting about that too, when he say the God is faithful, I like how Moses was kept on emphasizing this oath he swore to your forefathers, because sometimes it makes me think too, because you know they say like, it's coming and say we got grandmothers praying for us, you know what I'm saying? And to me it's still like a powerful thing, like if God made a promise to them, he's gonna honor that promise.
And don't think it's because of you.
And see, that's not what Moses saying. Like, need nothing y'all do. Granted, even nothing y'all, we definitely see y'all ancestors, y'all immediate ancestors that messed this up for y'all.
Yep.
This ain't got nothing to do with y'all.
But and he's saying, bro, y'all driving out these people, but please don't think it's because I happy with y'all, you know, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Like some of the times when God driving out some of these nations is because of what these nations
doing.
You understand what I'm saying? It ain't because I okay with y'all.
I mean, we was talking about this pre-pod too, but like, just like how God was saying, God told Abraham, yeah, I'm going to deal with the nation that afflict your children into slavery.
Exactly.
And even before, because, you know, my wrath is not done, it's not fully filled with the Amorites, I think it was at the time. But so like God, and even see future in the Bible too, when God is asking people, like, God, you're actually going to let us be captured by Babylon. And he say, don't worry, I can deal with Babylon, but y'all messing up right now, so I got to deal with y'all. So yeah, so I mean that's kind of like chapter 7, chapter 8 talking about don't like forget the Lord, kind of stuff we already talked about. Like this still Moses' open soliloquy, just giving them a rundown on things they already went through, because we see in chapter 9 we talk about the golden calf again. Chapter 10 he talked about him actually having to get new tablets, because I know after the golden calf, what happened? He destroyed them. So he had to go back up in the mountain. He just told them about that. And then in chapter 11, we start talking about loving and obeying God again. And so, like that's like this first, so from 1 to 11.
Hold on, bro.
Go for it.
So you telling me in chapter 10 he talked about the new tablets, right? And then chapter 11, what he talk about? Loving the Lord, right?
Love and obey the God. Yep.
Bro, this theme, bro. This theme, you can't deny it.
And see, and in chapter 10 too, he talked about fearing God again. After the new tablets, the second part of chapter 10, fearing God again. Then love and obey.
Yeah, bro. Love and obey. You can't love God unless you know him, bro.
Hey, and in chapter 11, again, you go back, you start seeing in verse 16, Deuteronomy 11:16. Be careful, you will be enticed to turn away and worship other gods and bow down to them. Then the Lord's anger will burn against you, and he will shut the heavens so that it will not rain on the ground and yield no produce. And you will soon perish from the good of the land the Lord has given you. You can see it again. He's saying like,
it's blatantly obvious that God does not condone idol worship.
No.
At all, like.
No.
And these consequences ain't no jokey things, bro. It's like, bro, this could be famine, bro. It could be pestilence. I could be plagues among you and things like that.
One thing that like just came to me too. Like, I know we talking about statues a lot right now in the pod, right? And like actual idols, right? But here's the thing too, for people listening. A physical statue doesn't have to be an idol. Is anything right now that you're giving more devotion and adoration to God. Your idol could be your job. Your idol could be money. You know what I'm saying? Your idol could be literally chasing that bag. So,
because the first commandment, don't have any other gods before me. Then he get into idols in the second commandment.
You know what I'm saying? So because to me, I don't want people just get comfortable saying, okay, I ain't worshiping like no statue, so I good. I just want like, this was their main thing back then in the day. Idols get a little bit more sophisticated right now because the devil changed his tactics to meet us in our present day. So to me, it's just a call to examine our lives, because your idol might not be physical, your idol might be mental. Your idol might be something completely different that you thinking you okay with, but you know you still giving this, whatever it is, way more attention, devotion, adoration than God. So it's just, I don't know, something just inspired me to say that.
Necessary. No, but truthfully, bro, like God detests these things. Like, and to me, when you think about the world, bro, when you think about America and politics, a lot of people tend to their political parties was closely aligned with like this the Bible, and a lot of times like, oh, you can't do this, you can't have homosexual, bro. The first couple commandments talk about idol worship, bro, but ain't nobody upset about that, bro. But they more upset about homosexuality, abortion. It's certain things where it's like this ain't adding up to me, because in this Old Testament, bro, the Lord has talked about the Sabbath too much times. The Lord has talked about idols way too much times. You understand? The Lord has talked about pagan worship and all type of stuff too much times. Like, but in today's society, when people talk about they Christian beliefs and stuff, it never have nothing to do with them things.
And to me, it's like a tactic of the enemy too. Because if I can get y'all focusing on things that aren't that important and get you arguing divisive on these issues and divide us, I win.
Fox, bro, nobody ever really, and it ain't nobody's job to do this. But ain't nobody ever really sit me down and be like, bro, idols ain't solid, bro. Like, that ain't, but this ain't no, but don't joke around with this, but God hate this. But they'll tell me, oh yeah, if a man lay with another man.
Oh yeah, they quoting that one quick.
For sure.
Quick.
Oh, that's abomination. Oh,
Quick.
Quick.
All
All right, think about Sodom and Gomorrah, right? The Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, right? But the Lord, but if you read the end of Deuteronomy, bro.
My thing is, right, how much more nations that we've seen God killed for their idolatry and stuff in the Bible, bro?
Like, too much, bro. The Israelites literally going on tour, killing nation after nation.
We need, because the next book after this, Joshua, we really get into when they really start laying waste to countries.
Exactly, bro.
They just start laying waste to cities and stuff.
But think about this, bro. Fire and brimstone, bro. I would rather experience fire and brimstone and die.
A quick death,
Opposed to
couple
pestilence.
slashes.
You understand what I'm saying? Famines.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it. So, okay, so like I was saying, so the first part of Deuteronomy is Moses' opening speech. So now we're going to get from chapter 12 to, I wrote it down here somewhere. So from chapter 12 to 26, this is like a collection of the laws again. So we are going to revisit a bunch of things that we've seen in Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. So this second part of the book, which is the main part of Deuteronomy, what people just know it for like another law book. But all these things we've seen before, hence the second law. Hence, we are talking to the new generation about to go into the land of Canaan. Here is what your ancestors already knew, but they just as good as dead now. So yeah, so we're about to get back into a lot of the civil laws, a lot of the social justice law, a lot of laws just protecting marriage, family, regular life, widows, immigration, orphans, all these type of things. So in 12, talking about like one place of worship, they just talk about the temple, and again emphasizing there's one God. Talk about how the temple should be cared for, and it's also talk about worshiping God through caring for the poor. So it's like a part in there where it's talking about like essentially caring for the poor. Definitely, like I say, we're doing an overview of the whole book of Deuteronomy. So unlike other episodes, just like our Leviticus episode, we're not going to go through every verse in detail. But like we always encourage you guys, do your own research, read for it on your own.
Because it's some gems in these things, but we don't have the time to go through it.
We don't have the time to go through it. And at the same time, too, like we want to use this as a conversation starter, you know, kind of say, give you guys overview, enjoy the good dialogue. But at the same time, we want to encourage everyone to read the Bible for themselves. Like, please, can I beg this enough? Do not take my word for anything in the Bible. Yes, me and Nakhaz, we do our research before these episodes. Yes, we try to bring you the most facts that we can bring. We pray for guidance, but at the same time, the Holy Spirit might reveal to you something in your journey that you need to see that he might not reveal to us when we're talking about this podcast.
No, that's the truth.
That's the truth. Like,
and then some things might stick out to you
way more than it sticks out to us.
Yeah, it sticks out to us, bro, because it was a verse on witchcraft here would really stick out to me. I was like, ooh, they talk about it like specifically. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, chapter.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, no, I'm just gonna read something else. Chapter 13. This stuck out to me. If a prophet or verse 1, if a prophet or one who foretells by dream appears among you and announces to you a sign or wonder, and if the sign or wonder spoken of takes place, and the prophet says, "Let us follow other gods, gods you have not known, let us worship them," you must not listen to the words of that prophet or dreamer. The Lord your God is testing you to find out whether you love him with all your heart and with all your soul. And so truthfully, this go back to the 10 Commandments. Like, so you see a prophet, and he's a proven prophet because what he's prophesied has came forth. But now he instructing you to do something that is against the commandments, what you could do. And I feel like this is so interesting because you will know them by their fruits, right? And It's gonna be times in the last days, and just as the world advances, where it's gonna be people who telling half truths. They look good on one side, and they pushing you to do something else, and you're like, "No, man, but that's true, man, because this dude healing and they doing signs and wonder." But there's always give themselves up, and you don't fail the test, basically.
I heard Revelation talk about this, like in the last days there will be an antichrist who does signs and wonders, who will lead many astray.
Even the very elect, if possible, would be deceived.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, not going to beat around the bush, but like the Bible again talks about how in the last days we are going to see people who do signs and wonders. But here's the thing, like it says in Thessalonians 2, test what they're saying. Does it hold up against the Bible? But here's the thing, how would you know if it holds up against the Bible if you don't do your own research?
That's a fact.
Because like it was in Corinthians, how would we know if you are if you're just a gong clanking making noise if we don't know what noise sounds like? Because here's the thing, the enemy knows the Bible probably better than you.
They was around to live it. Like this basically his life, bro. Like from a different perspective. From God, from the godly perspective. You understand what I'm saying?
So like he knows what's happening. He knows what happened. He was there, you know, got thrown out of heaven, came to earth, you know what I'm saying? So like he knows this stuff. He was quoting scriptures at Jesus, like, you know what I'm saying? Like
he was misquoting scriptures at Jesus, like
you know
out of context, you know?
How did he come to Eve? Remember, the Bible never gives no context of Eve talking to the serpent first. The serpent talked to Eve. Did he really say you couldn't eat from this tree? You know what I'm saying? So he knows what is said and how to twist it. So now here's the thing. How will you know the truth if you don't know what the truth is? Because at that point, you just fall for anything.
Crazy. Another thing in Deuteronomy where Moses was saying how y'all receive manna from heaven every day. You understand what I'm saying? And basically your clothes never wear out. You receive food every day because man shall not live by bread alone. So right when the devil was quoting Psalms 91, the devil was misquoting Psalms 91. Jesus was quoting Deuteronomy again, and he was saying, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone. You understand what I'm saying? And Jesus was fasting for 40 days. Same thing as Moses, bro. A lot of things tie in together, bro. This Bible is a complete book, start to finish. You understand? And like, that's why you gotta read. That's why you really have to read. These things are not easy to read. We're not hiding that. These things is a hard read, and that's why we ain't even going back and we ain't gonna keep telling you about the ceremonial laws because sometimes it's hard to listen to.
It's hard for us to say.
You understand what I say? Like it really ain't that enjoyable, to be honest with you. But definitely, you still can't skip this part of the process because it's definitely important. You know.
And then the next thing too, just like how you just brought into Jesus, but like we read in Matthew, the Mount of Transfiguration. So Matthew like 17, someplace around there at the end of Matthew, when before Jesus died. But who appeared to him on the Mount of Transfiguration? Moses and Elisha. Both people who ended up in heaven, as you're going to see as you keep on reading the Bible, which we're going to talk to again. But both came down and appeared to him. One went up at heaven before he died. One died, then went to heaven because we know Moses is about to die. But Moses represented the law because that's who the law was given to and who knew the law in depth. And Elijah was one of the most well-known prophets. So Elijah represented the prophets and Moses represented the law, and they appeared to Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration with him. But anyway, that's just along that tangent that we ain't gonna get to Matthew in a very long time. So
yeah, I could just go through a few things that stuck out to me.
Yeah, go through it. So, because I mean, even before you do that, so like I said, verse 12 through. My notes, I just gonna run through my notes because then you have more details. So like 12 through 16, just talk about Israel's worship again. Chapters 16 through 18 talk about the Israel's laws and some of the laws that the prophets need to see when I'm trying to like select a king, some of the laws surrounding the king, when the king should be chosen, when they get into the new land. 19 through 26, just more about the civil and justice law that we see in Leviticus. A lot of this stuff already. Check out our previous episodes because a lot of the stuff we talked about in depth in those episodes, but it's just a lot of that stuff again. And go for it. I got something to say, Brad, probably right at the end, at the laws and stuff.
No, but watch this why, right? If you are familiar with the Old Testament, but have not really delved into this, you will find that when reading Deuteronomy, a lot of things, it's not even that it's prophesied, but a lot of things are warned against that people went and did anyway. Deuteronomy 17, verse 17. And it's talking about when you have a king, he must not take many wives, or his heart will be led astray. He must not accumulate large amount of golds. But let's just talk about the wives. When you have a king, they're saying your king should not take many wives, or his heart will be led astray. We've seen kings whose heart has been led astray. We can get to them sooner or later. We can get them pretty soon.
Pretty soon, actually.
Yeah, truthfully. But it's like this stuff in Deuteronomy. So it's like when they were aware of these things too, but they chose not to do. But at the end of the day, the consequences still remain. The book of Deuteronomy, like not even to be corny, but it's talking about what you should do. You understand what I'm saying? That was kind of corny though, I ain't gonna lie. But it's telling you the things to do and not to do. It started off saying the things that you did, and then it goes to the law and saying what to do and not to do. And then the book ends with saying what are the results of doing or not doing. You know? So that was one thing in verse 18, in chapter 18, verse 9, it talk about occult practices. Let's see. Verse 10, let no one be found among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, or casts spells, or who is a medium or spiritist, or who consults the dead. We see how another king,
The first
king, you understand what I'm saying? He consulted someone who just did this very same thing. So, but outside of that, it's pretty cutting edge to be like horoscopes and getting your palm read and stuff like that. The Bible speaks against this.
And you might ask, like, why was this such a thing too? Because, and that's the next thing I'm saying too. In the historical context, you got to understand, God's law God's law set the Israelites in a different social, ethical, moral class and a higher level of justice and all the other codes and surrounding nations. Because here's the thing. If you're like a history nerd or, enjoy these kind of things, you're going to know. Around that time, there was a code of Hammurabi. There was the code of Urmamu. And then they also had like the Middle Assyrian laws around this time too. So like these other nations, they weren't just like, willy-nilly. They had laws and codes and everything. And some of these laws, for lack of better, some of them are actually decent, but they still had all these other practices that they still allowed and stuff like that too. So it's like, okay, I want y'all to be different in this land. Like there are still going to be other nations in this land. You know what I'm saying? You are still going to be surrounded by other nations. So I need y'all to be different, to stand out, because I am the Lord your God. These other nations looking at us, and we see even from Moab, the king of Moab, cursing because I can't fight their God. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't fight their God. Like y'all just looking at this from like a shallow level. But some of these other nations and some of these other kings, they already realize it's a God versus God battle here. You know what I'm saying? They already realize the spiritual aspect of this, but you guys can't see this for some reason.
And that's why they go on to say, because Moses is going to go away, you're going to need new messengers. Moses was the messenger. Moses was a prophet. The Lord spoke to Moses direct, and Moses tell him what's going to come to pass. That's prophecy, right? But because we're losing Moses, Moses took the time to say that the Lord is going to give you prophets in different forms now. You ain't going to have me who just talking directly to God. It could be people who dream or however the Lord tell them, and these things going to come true. But beware though. Some of these people, although they prophesying in my name and these are true prophecies, some of them ain't really for me. Example, Balaam. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, boy,
Balaam. So this book teaching them about that, because all throughout the New Testament, there's always a prophet around. You understand what I'm saying? And then there's always false prophets too. So, well, I could just spare you all from a lot of these other it's just this little thing. So it's really interested to be. We don't got to get to that because we running out of time on the low. But
yeah, so now after that, like I say, definitely check it out because a lot of that stuff is reiterating, especially a lot of Leviticus and any part we talk about the law. Some of these things are just essentially the same things, just repeated to the nation. So from 27 to the end, in the Deuteronomy, we're going to get into some of this stuff, but this is like Moses' final speech, essentially. Is where he essentially starts to lay out an ultimatum to these people, as we're going to get into. But here's the ultimatum. You could listen to God and obey, as we see before in the Shema. Listen, O Israel, obey, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind. And you could receive the blessings. You could rebel. You can rebel against God, not listen to his laws, disobey his laws, choose not to serve him, choose to be like the pagan nations among you instead of apart from them. And you know what you're going to get? So we're going to see?
Curses.
Exile, curses, famine, pestilence. So, well, let's get into it.
Which one we getting into? The blessing or which one come first? The blessings or the curses?
We could start, we could start at...
Little blessings come first, 28.
Yeah, blessings of obedience here, they come first.
Yep. Same chapter.
See, if you fully... you going for it?
No, go for it.
If you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow all his commandments I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high above the nations on the earth. You see it right there. He'll set you above all of them. All these blessings will come upon you and accompany you if you obey the Lord your God. You will be blessed in the city and blessed in the country. I think that's in the song. The fruit of your womb will be blessed. The crops of your land, the young of your livestock, the calves of your herd, and the lambs of your flocks. The basket and your kneading the basket and your kneading throw will be blessed. You will be blessed when you come in and blessed when you go out. I know that's definitely in the song, and people say that a lot. The Lord will grant the enemies who rise up against you will be defeated before you. They will come at you from one direction and flee from you in seven.
Bro. See, God talking, not talking. And this ain't something like, God, this, everything worthwhile, bro. Everything means something to y'all, bro. This was what everyone would want.
The Lord will send a blessing on your barns and on everything you put your hand to. The Lord God will bless you in the land he is giving you. The Lord will establish you his holy people, as he promised you an oath. If you keep his commandments of the Lord, your God and walk in his ways, then all the peoples on earth will see that you are called by the name of the Lord and will fear you. The Lord will grant you abundant prosperity in the fruit of your womb, the young of your livestock, and the crops of the ground, in the land he swore to your forefathers to give you. The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of his bounty, and send rain on your land in season and bless all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations, but will borrow from none. The Lord will make you the head and not the tail. If you pay attention to the commands of the Lord your God that I give you this day and carefully follow them, you will always be at the top and never the bottom. Do not turn aside from any of the commandments I give you today, to the right or to the left, following other gods and serving them.
And don't forget the following other gods.
And you see how it ends? Don't...
Yeah, gotta keep reminding you a lot.
And the curse for disobedience. However, if you do not obey the Lord your God and do not carefully follow his commands, his decrees I am giving you today, all these curses will come upon you and overtake you. You will be cursed in the city and in the curse in the country. Your basket and your kneading trough will be cursed. The fruit of your womb will be cursed. The crops of your land and your calves of your herds and the lambs of your flocks. You will be cursed when you come in and when you go out. The Lord will send curses and confusion and rebuke everything you put your hand to until you are destroyed and come to a sudden ruin because of the evil you have done in forsaking him. The Lord will plague you with diseases until he has destroyed you from the land you are entering to possess. The Lord will strike you with wasting disease, with fever and inflammation, with scorching heat and drought, with blight and mildew, which will plague you and punish you. The sky over your head will be bronze, the ground beneath you iron. The Lord will turn the rain of your country into dust and powder.
Hold on. Very bad, bro. But I just want you to know the curses go.
Yeah, I know. I see that. I was going to stop right there.
But
I was going to stop right at verse 24.
Yeah, but all right. So for context, the curses start at verse 15 and they end at verse 68.
Verse 68, boy.
You see what I said?
God let you know.
But that's back to our point, though, bro. Would you rather take fire and brimstone, right? Or because a lot of people. It's be like, yeah, bro, God detests homosexuality. Look at what he do to Sodom and Gomorrah. No. Look at what he was talking about for idols. This in that same Bible where Sodom and Gomorrah in. This like 50 verses of plagues, of curses that the Lord will bestow on you if you do not listen to him. Like, and this is what Moses is saying in his farewell speech. Like these, like it's to know God, to love God is to know God, to know God is to love God type of situation. You can't love him for real if you don't know him. You understand? That's like just like a girl who just meet you, I love you, like, and they mean romantic. You be like, you don't even know me.
You don't know me yet.
What you mean you don't love me? You can't love me. How you can't even know that if you love me or not because you don't know what I about type of thing, you know. But one thing God's seriously trying to get through, especially in the Torah, is how much he detests idols. And we've already said this enough times on this podcast, but God has said it, and Moses has said it even more times than us in these few books. So basically, in a nutshell, in chapter 28, it's a duality. You follow God, you keep his commands, you stay away from idols and all of these things that he detests, and you get blessings. You could look good in front of your enemy, you could defeat them. The Lord gonna give you everything, he ain't gonna withhold any good thing. But if you don't, if you embarrass me, if you falsely bear my name and you live like these pagan nations, you getting curse after curse after curse. And God ain't even saying, I cursing and cursing and cursing at them. These people ain't know no better for real. The little better they supposed to know would be how they look at you.
How you look
You're
at you
all supposed to be, you see what I'm saying? You're all supposed to be a representation of this.
I mean, just even think about it too, man. So imagine you was a I don't even know.
Right or something.
A Moabite,
Yeah.
right? You looking at this nation across the Jordan. They supposed to be getting blessed, right? But because of their disobedience, they ain't being blessed. You like, what's different?
What's different?
I bow down to my idol and I
Why
get
would
the
I
same
bow
result.
down to him? And then look at this too though. Even before they ain't getting blessed, they would have had to copy me. So y'all have your Most High God, but you still trying to be like me. What that telling you? My God's more powerful than your God's, or my God's more serious.
Doing it right.
We was doing it right. So it's a very serious thing that y'all listen to God and do not be like the other nations. This ain't no jokey thing at all. And it's like a lot riding on this. It's like when your parents take you out and be like, yo, don't touch nothing, don't embarrass me, XYZ. They give you that little talk because a lot riding on whatever the situation is. And Moses already telling them, he's already to the point with y'all and your ancestors, to the point where he like, y'all can go without me. I ain't want to do this. But only true your ancestors before these ancestors who already pissed me off. I have a covenant, an oath with them. You understand? That's the only reason. And then I ain't given the enemies the power to say it was because of them, or it was because I wasn't able. You know, at the same time, because I still have to be known as holy. You know? And a lot of times God is do things for us. And it's like, we don't deserve, let's go down in grace and mercy again. We don't deserve it. You understand what I'm saying? But I like the wages of sin is death. Me and you, we alive right now. We probably sinned in the last 24 hours. Everyone in the sound of my voice maybe have sinned within the last 24 hours. But y'all ain't dead yet. You understand? Y'all ain't dead. Lord keep you alive. Because at the end of the day, he have to be seen as holy. His holiness has to be seen. It has to be seen that I allow Kazi and Earl to live and they choose to either keep sinning or they choose to stop sinning. You understand what I'm saying?
I like how you say that too. You got any more points?
Go.
Because if you fast forward to chapter 30, verse 15, Moses set before them the ultimate ultimatum. See, I set before you today life and prosperity or death and destruction. Moses saying, guess what? At the end of the day, it's still your choice. The choice is That's yours. What people got to realize too. At the end of the day, it's still your choice. God ain't forcing you to love him, you know. I didn't make it painstakingly clear. If you do this, I can bless you. If you obey me, I can bless you. If you don't obey me, you purposely choosing destruction. Because you man, like seriously, people, like go back and read verse 15 to 68. You purposely choosing that. If you choose
of chapter 28.
Yeah, of chapter 28. You're gonna purposely be choosing that. So Moses is saying, I set up before you. I set before you today life and prosperity, death and destruction. For I command you today to love the Lord your God, walk in his ways, and keep his commands, decrees, and laws. Then you will Then you will live and increase, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are entering. But if your heart turns away, and you are not obedient, if you are drawn away to bow down to other gods and to worship them, I declare to you this day that you will certainly be destroyed. You will not live long in the land you are crossing the Jordan to enter and possess.
But then read verse 19.
This day I call heaven and earth as witness against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live, and that you may love the Lord your God. Listen to his voice and hold fast to him. For the Lord is your life, and he will give you many years in the land he swore to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
So now choose life.
I'm telling you, like, I really want you guys to choose this life, you know.
And it's so crazy because, like, it's sad because these was his last words. Like, this is his last speech. Moses is about to die.
And to me too, yeah, Moses is about to die. Not even to downplay that, right? But to me too, it's still powerful. Like, that's Jesus' message too, and God's message.
That's facts.
Choose life. But here's the thing. You still have the choice. I can't force it down your throat. I know how good this could be for you. I know how much blessings you could get from it. I know how horrible the next alternative is. But guess what? I can't force you to do it. I can't force you to do it. You still have to choose. You still have to choose. And the choice is yours because we still have free will. Contrary to what other people might think, you still have the choice to do what you're going to do. Literally, you have the choice. Each day you grapple with the choice. Do I want to go to work? Some people say I am forced to go to work. You ain't really forced. I mean, you want to go because you want to get paid. But guess what? I know people who choose to call in sick that morning. No, they did. They chose not to go into work.
Exactly.
Some people choose to quit.
Yeah.
When you reach the finish line, you say, I can't take this anymore, I'm quitting. That is your choice.
You have that choice.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, in everything we do, we have a choice. People feel, anyway, I'm going to get into that.
Yeah, bro. All right, so now watch this. Moses is about to perish, right? Deuteronomy 31, verse 14. Now, after we already talk about choosing life or death, this is last prophecy. The Lord said to Moses, now the day of your death is near. Call Joshua and present yourself at the tent of meeting where I will commission him. So Moses and Joshua came and presented themselves at the tent of meeting. Then the Lord appeared at the tent in a pillar of cloud, and the cloud stood over the entrance to the tent. And the Lord said to Moses, you are going to rest with your ancestors. And these people will soon prostitute themselves to foreign gods of the land they are entering. They will forsake me and break the covenant I made with them. And in that day I will become angry with them and forsake them. I will hide my face from them, and they will be destroyed. Many disasters and calamities will come on them. And in that day they will ask, have not these disasters come on us because our God is not with us? And I will certainly hide my face in that day because of all their wickedness and turn into other gods. Once again, it's about gods for real. Now write down this song and teach it to the Israelites and have them sing it so that it may be a witness for me against them.
Against them.
Yes, sir. When I have brought them into the land flowing with milk and honey, the land I promised on oath to their ancestors. And when they eat their fill and thrive, they will turn to other gods and worship them, rejecting me and breaking my covenant. So here the Lord prophesies to Moses, hey, you about to pass away, just about to be Joshua leading. But shortly after you go, bro, they about to just stray away but make me very angry. And then I can turn my back on them and they can get destroyed. You understand what I'm saying?
I mean, because God knows, and this is where God knows their hearts. And we see where even Moses was, like, even when you go read these songs, like, right, you guys ain't going to change because you guys need a circumcision of your hearts. And just think about that metaphor. You need a circumcision of your hearts. You know what I'm saying? Like, God knows your heart, man. Like, these people, because you see, right, they said, the ancestors say, yeah, we're going to serve God. We're going to do whatever he says. But time after time again, they don't serve him. It was easy for Balaam and the king of Moab to get them to turn on God super quick. Just enticed them with a little bit of partying, drinking, and females. That was it for the men. Yeah. God knows what the Israelite females were doing. I don't know if they might anyway. Who knows? But my thing is like, choose life or choose death, and we all have this decision. Oh my, it's just powerful to think about, man. It's powerful to think about. Got any other closing? Oh yeah, so plot twist: Moses dies on the mountain.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So the Lord just finished telling them that the Israelites about to choose death, and this is something that Moses didn't choose, but it was his time. So he climbs up the top of the Mount Nebo. And from there, Moses, well, before that, he blesses the tribes one last time. He goes to the tribes, blesses them, and then on that same day, he climbs up to Mount Nebo, and that is where he perished. And the Israelites mourned for him for 30 days. You know, it was their custom to mourn for 30 days. And that's where Moses rested. And after that 30 days, that's when Joshua became their official leader. I don't know if you have anything to say.
That was just interesting that, like, how the Bible paints it that, you know, no one knows when Moses was buried, but we see, like, this is obviously commentary that was added after the book. And so we see even at the book's end, like, for there was no one ever as mighty as power performed awesome deeds as Moses did in the sight of all of Israel. So we see, like, this is just certain commentary that was clearly added after the book was written. So you see the scribes of who was transferring it way back in the day, like centuries ago, just added this commentary. But yeah, I mean, like, I will get your thoughts. Like, what do you think about the Torah so far? Like, we've actually ended a significant portion of the Bible.
Bro, this actually, in a way, bro, I ain't gonna lie. I feel kind of sad reading this, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I know the Bible is about to get super fun again, but these last couple books, it was a different feeling reading the Bible. Genesis was just pure jokes and just pure action to me, bro. I was like, oh, this is like a novel, right? But then here we have a lot of. It was like a text. It get to be like a textbook come Exodus, come the rest of the Torah basically till now. Numbers is when it started to get a little more exciting because all right, now we get the stories, and these are the stories that I've known kinda. But overall, like, to me, it kind of sad because they never get it right, and I know from here how bad it's gonna get. You understand what I'm saying? Because I know a few stories in the Old Testament after this. You know, it's a lot of good times per se. But even like when you get in Kings, when you look at how it's certain countries who at war, like the Philistines had war with the Israelites, it didn't have to be like that. You've seen this in Deuteronomy, where if you love the Lord and you kept his commandments, that's all it is. Like, that's really all it is. Like, all of these laws we telling you, bro, you would keep these if you love God. You understand what I'm saying? By not keeping it, you showing me you don't love me. And from here, you're gonna feel my wrath and my curses and stuff. And you just question why the Israelites gone through so much in the Old Testament is self-inflicted. Even before this, they was enslaved for somewhere in the 400-year region. They was living in Egypt for 400 years. They was enslaved a portion of that. I think about 80 years of that. But how did they get like that? What could they have done to get like that? The way how they left Egypt, meaning how in love with idols they were, it led me to believe it had something to do with idol worship, because God, there's one thing that's non-negotiable for God. You get into this idolatry thing, or I can give you over to these nations since you want to be like them. And now we see it perpetuating. So the Israelites ain't even the victims no more, bro. There's the villains to me now, bro. God is the victim now. You understand? Like, you know, God can't be a victim, but what I'm saying, God getting the short end of the stick where you doing so much for these people and you putting these people in position to grow and to be better and to really just live. God saying stuff like, bro, your enemy can come to you one direction, they can leave in seven, bro. God talking that big talk. That remind me of like when the psalmist say, he prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemy. That's a big talk to say, bro. Like, my enemies get to watch me eat big, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Your enemies can watch you and be like,
and can't do nothing.
They can't do nothing, bro. You know what it is? Y'all the most thriving country. Anyone can borrow from y'all, but y'all can't borrow from them because y'all just living good. They talk about it. They talk about what is in store for you, right? And you have the ultimate protection from God, and ain't nothing gonna happen to y'all. What? That's crazy, like, bro. The world we living in now, bro, it's a dangerous world we live in, and it's just like nobody love each other for real. Like, ain't nobody as a nation saying, all right, we loving each other and we protecting each other, X, Y, Z. Bro, it's every man for themselves. This reminds me of a tight-knit community, and it's like us against everybody. But it's us and God against everybody. Nah, we subjected to just like chickens running without a head right now because of being lived by the Israel nation just completely break up. They get battered and bruised and cursed and all type of thing because when the Lord set up all of this stuff he was setting up in these last 4 books, they decided that they are going to rely on the influence of the people around them, the people who they was killing. By the grace of God, the Lord was driving them out, doing all of these things, but that's who they wanted to be like, you know. So to me, I can't look at them as the victims no more, you know. I wanted to look at them as, oh, that's so crazy, bro. Because I always like sympathize with Hebrews, Jewish, stuff like that. Like I feel like there's my people because they worship the Most High God even before people like us were privy to that type of culture, you know? So I like, when I read in these things and in the New Testament, like, bro, I don't like that the Romans was in power when Jesus was around and think like, no, I wanted the Jews to be their own people, X, Y, Z. But you understand how they get like that. Y'all had y'all power and y'all was acting like when your teacher leave the class and you know, supervision, everybody just being wild and think that's just how y'all was acting. Y'all didn't have to. You know, that's how I feel with the Torah. Like, it helped me to this really set the standard for everything else in the book. And it make it sad now to me, but it make it even more urgent as to why a Messiah is necessary. Let's save y'all from dying twice. But I could see how it was confused that they felt like it was saving y'all from dying even the first time. Like they feel like the Messiah can come. They feel like the Messiah was the last chance at getting back to being a great nation type of thing. But by that time, it's like, no, we already tried this. All right. No, we ain't really care about that. Let's just make sure your soul is safe for real, you know? But anything you have to say on the thing?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I just keep it short because you pretty much summarize it all. But to me, what stands out from Genesis to Deuteronomy is just the issue of the heart. I'm going to just even end with Deuteronomy specifically because now we could see the blessings that's going to be laid out if you just choose to serve him. Naturally, you would say, what, like, who would choose all this evil if you already know this is going to come in? But we see this ties back into Genesis. The minute Adam and Eve ate the fruit, this invisible virus of sin causes mankind to do the unthinkable, the illogical. So now we're contaminated with this virus, and we don't even know this virus is constantly acting on us because now our flesh desires and craves certain things. Now we give into these desires. And so now your flesh tied to your heart now. So now you're saying, oh, now it's a matter of heart. I want to serve God, but I can't serve God no more. So now I'm choosing to do these things even when I know what the circumstances are going to be because they already spelled out. But I can't fight against my flesh to chase these desires anymore. So now I'm choosing this death, even though realistically the logical choice is to choose this life. And to me, we see that from Genesis all throughout. Like, no one, and we gave Joseph a lot of credit, right? Joseph got an A. Yeah. Got an A. But no one else besides Joseph, I'm sure Joseph had his sins, so it just weren't documented, you know what I'm saying? But, like, everyone else tried and failed. You know what I'm saying? No one went through scotch-free. And then we get to the amalgamation of the nations, you know, when everyone just came full circle, we say, yes, Lord, we're going to serve you. Yes, Lord, we're going to do this. We're going to go to the mountaintop. Yeah, we're going to keep your commandments. Before Moses comes back down, they're already making a golden calf. You know what I'm saying? God showed them all these signs and wonders. Now we lack faith. God, you just did this for us, but now can you do this again? And I see myself doing that too in today's day. Like, you know, in the beginning of this episode, we talked about praising God in advance, praising him continually. But guess what? Next week I'm going to be like, God, can you do this again for me? And I know better, but I still see myself falling into the same cycle that the Israelites fall into. And to me, that just shows the virus of sin that contaminates us to this day, that we still struggling with the same thing they were struggling with dying there 5,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's just powerful when you think about it in that context. Like, these are things they were struggling with thousands of years ago. And we're struggling with the same thing. Might be in a slightly different form, But like we talking about, what other gods you probably serving now that taking the place of God? It might not be an idol, might be your job, might be you chasing the money, might be Bitcoin, might be cryptocurrencies, might be whatever else you're doing, taking up more time and adoration, more of your devotion than God is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just things to think about. Like, we struggle with a lot of these same things disguised as differences, but the same issues of the heart, where we know the benefits of actually serving God, actually staying true to what God calls us to do. But when we want to choose life, we choose death.
I just get end it with this though, because I had a friend who his biggest frustration with life and Christianity and just everything was that he feel like everything is already predestined to happen. The Lord knows the beginning from the end. So the Lord knows that I will go to heaven or hell. He knows what my destiny already is. So why are we struggling to be in this world? You know? And it's just what you just said, bro. The choice of life or death. In the close of the Torah, Moses is making it painfully obvious to the second generation of freed Israelites that you indeed have a choice. And that's something that each of us should factor in on a day-to-day basis. It's not something to be pessimistic and think, oh, it's so hard to get to heaven, X, Y, Z. The Israelites could have said that. It's hard to get to the promised land. But at the end of the day, it's only one thing they saying, just keep my commandments, love me with all your heart. You know, you understand what I'm saying? And by doing so, you are choosing life. By not doing so, you're choosing death. So basically, just to continue this parallel between the Israelites and us today, it ain't the fact that God know everything because God making us do this, or God is determining whether we get to heaven or hell. That is definitely in your power. But it all boils down to what choice we're gonna make. Before his death, the Lord used Moses to deliver one more word to the Israelites. He took the time to reiterate all of the laws and decrees passed down to him from God, as well as assure the Israelites of the blessings that will come with keeping the law, and also the curses that will come from breaking the law. It's now time for a new leader to take the Israelites into the promised land, and God has already found the perfect man for the position. But we'll talk more about Joshua on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by Dominic McFall, Lindell Segis, as well as your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.